Hello everyone, my name is Robin and welcome to my reaction to RWBY Volume 9 Beyond Episode 2, A Knight's Journal, focusing on Jaune coming back from the Ever After. I have a couple different things to say about this one. Before I get into that, I want to talk about Volume 9 Beyond as a whole, what it's shaping up to be, what we can tell a little bit more about it from the first episode, and that is, these are low budget as hell. Like 14 people worked on them. Carrie animated it. The showrunner of RWBY, who's typically involved in a much higher scope, a much higher role, is the one animating this thing in After Effects at the airport. You tally up all of the people in the credits, that's 14 different names. So these are incredibly low budget. It seems to have been put together on a little bit shorter of a notice than other things. Like, if you look at the people who have been in the booth recording the voiceover, what characters are talking? You have Jaune, Neptune, and Sun so far. That is Miles Luna, Carrie Shawcross, and Michael Jones. These are all people who work at Rooster Teeth. You know, Miles, he is still somebody who has access to a booth. So those are the kinds of people that we're probably going to hear talk over, like Anna Holm for Raven Bronwyn. And so I don't really expect to hear from Raven. And yet, that doesn't necessarily mean that, like, we're not gonna get a Team RWBY-focused episode. And that's been the whole discourse and focus over the past day at this point. Why are we giving Jaune an episode? As if they're not also going to give Team RWBY an episode. Like, they can't? Do you think they're not going to? And, you know, just because you haven't seen it yet, admittedly, I wouldn't know either if there is or isn't, but we have 2 episodes to go. I don't know who the 3rd episode is going to be, but at this point, I'm just assuming that the 4th is going to be Team RWBY. And that's all I have to say for getting into A Knight's Journal, which is a bit longer of an episode. This one looks to be 5.5 minutes. In other words, 5 minutes without credits. So I wasn't expecting it to be this long, so we'll see what happens. To say a bit more, I do think this is set after the Ever After. It is set once he comes back and he's kind of reacclimating to his team, reacclimating to the war against Salem. What are the next steps he needs to take, you know, mentally, emotionally, to get out of the headspace that he was in the Ever After, reliving the same day over and over and over again, grief ending in acceptance, moving forward from there. That's kind of what I think this is going to be, so let's begin.
This is the very first entry in what I guess is about to become my journal. Just feels like something you do when you want to keep your daily life in perspective. And now that I've been young and old and young again, it's not always easy to keep things in perspective these days.
Yeah.
You know, I lost it for a little bit.
I appreciate this, and we saw concept art for this
Being back with
balcony
my
as
team
well.
helps, even though things aren't the same.
Oh, so those are
Bryn and
just
Nora have
faunus
their
in
own
the
thing they're
background.
working through, and I'm not the same boy they knew.
Yeah.
I'm the rusted knight. Nora loves reminding people of that, by the way. They usually just look at her like it's some kind of inside joke they're not a part of.
Yeah.
These days I'd rather forget. I guess I was the rusted knight.
So I'll say a bit more about Nora at the end
The
then.
rusted knight wasn't really me.
Yeah.
Who is Jaune now? Lately, I've been spending more time with.
I like having
I
the
thought
gray in
might
his hair
most.
now too. Ooh.
And how is that journal going?
Yo, I was not expecting
I
this.
haven't quite started yet.
Oscar, I love you so
It'll
much.
help.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't feel like anything will. Don't get me wrong, I'm not unhappy to be back. I just feel out of place. Like I've left the world by and it's done the same.
I mean, I know that's
Believe
Oz,
me,
but still.
I know what that's like. I've been the subject of a couple of fairy tales myself.
Couple
mean
of them.
Ozpin
Maybe
has.
just a...
Right?
Of course.
Yeah, no.
If you're not sure where to start, I do have a suggestion, if you'd like.
Sure.
Think about the good times. What little they might have been that you spent in the Ever After.
Just focus on the positive.
No, not like that. It might be able to help you remember what it was all for. And rewrite the story in your own way.
The good times. I remember Alex and Lewis. Those early days.
It's good to
getting know
see
each other
more
were
of them
magical.
again, too.
It's like I was living someone else's life. For me, the secret that I knew a little of what was happening to all of us was exciting. Lewis was a puzzle, since he wasn't part of the story I knew, but he figured out really quickly.
It's so good to see Juniper again, too.
We compared notes on Remnant. Oh, they couldn't believe I was from the faraway future.
Alex's eyes,
I couldn't believe they were
that's
from
so
Vacuo.
funny.
Back before the war.
Oh, they were from pre-war
Hudson.
Vacuo. Interesting.
I
Yeah, well, it would have been a
remember the first
very
time we
different
tried to
place
shop
back
at the
then,
Garden
so...
Acre. They didn't have days of the week, so they invented one. Splatter Day, just for us humans. You know, for a while,
What
they
is
ended up
Splatter
having
Day supposed to
Splatter
mean?
Day every day because they didn't understand. But every Splatter Day, there was a farmer's market. Only instead of buying produce,
What was it named after?
you bought farmers who would grow it for you for a little bit. We would roast things by the fire every night.
Who's getting splattered? Why is it called
Those
that?
campfires I remember most. Lewis
I don't
writing
like
everything
that.
down in his journal. The story he'd one day tell. To help lead my friends to me. Oh, and in those early days, every night around the campfire, when I tell them my story, my adventures, oh, they always seemed so amazed.
Mm-hmm.
Which was weird because it was just my life.
Mm-hmm.
Mistakes I'd made.
You don't
And the times I'd gotten lucky.
realize how people
like
can
having my
see a
team
hero.
People around you who make you feel more
Bigger and
than
more
you are.
than you are. Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they see you in a way you can't see yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same kind of warmth that a good fire brings. And laughter. And a
Oh,
good meal.
don't!
I
Why?
see those campfires all across Vacuo at
Affectionately,
night,
fuck you.
and I wonder what people are sharing, what they're building, the hope they're stoking, and what they'll be saying when this is all over. I guess maybe there's something to this after all.
Perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think we're gonna make it?
Around that campfire. Did it matter?
No. No, I guess it didn't.
Mm-hmm. There we go. I love that. That was a very good perspective from Oz. That was wonderful. Oscar Pine, really, huh? Are you sure about that? Are you sure that was Oscar Pine? I don't think so. Okay, so now to get into my thoughts after having seen the episode. As I was saying about Nora, in the epilogue, we see a very different version of Nora than is here. We see a Nora who is kind of taking on the weight of the world, putting that on her shoulders, putting herself second, more importantly, and that's kind of the same thing that RWBY was doing for 9 volumes. So it's good to see in this Nora having the headspace, not constantly being in that destructive headspace, but, you know, allowing herself to feel that side of her, allowing herself to be more in the moment and be more lighthearted and making jokes with people who do not understand them because she finds them funny. So it was very good to see that side of Nora. Ren again, seeing Pyrrha again. Oscar, seeing Oscar again. I've said this on and off over the course of the past couple of videos, but we can say at this point that Oscar was not Lewis. At this point, we have an Oz who's been directly told about Lewis, and he doesn't say, yeah, that was me. They're from the far-flung past of Vacuo, which could still have been Oz, in theory. That doesn't rule him out, but, like, he knows about Lewis's life story. At this point, if he's not gonna say, yeah, that was me, come on. What was interesting was that they only wrote Oscar Pine's name in the credits, as if Aaron Dismuke was not voicing both characters or only Oz in that instance. And that has a couple different meanings. There's a couple different things that we can draw from that. The first being, maybe they forgot to put Ozpin in the credits, which is possible. On a team of 14 people, something can slip through the cracks like that. If it had to be Oscar in that moment. If this genuinely was Oscar only, then what that says is that we're now seeing an Oscar who does not know the differences between Oz's memories and his own, and the merge is coming faster in the form of, like, they are two separate people, but he is forgetting the difference, like the line between whose memories or whose is blurring. I don't like that. I don't think that's what the epilogue was going for at all. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that they didn't put they didn't put Ozpin's name in the credits, even though they should have. And it was also good to see the show highlight what toxic positivity is, right? Only think about the good times, John. That's totally what I'm saying to you. No, it's not. No, John, you don't need to focus on only the positives, but you should also focus on what the positives bring you. You should also think about what you were trying to do, who you were trying to be, what you were trying to go for in those positive moments. What did the positivity bring you that you're not focusing on right now in that moment? You need to draw from that. You need to have more of that headspace. Don't just conceal, don't feel all the bad stuff in the world, but your motivations and who you are, you should be driven by the positives too. So that was very good to see. I don't know if I have too much else to say about this. We didn't see anything from, like, we only saw Alex and Lewis. We didn't see the cat. Jaune was talking about the headspace of being seen as the hero when you cannot see that in yourself, wanting to now draw from that. There's two parts to identity. There's how you see yourself, and there's how other people see you. The whole point of his arc in Volume 9 is the acceptance of moving on from the grief, but now he's also accepting that other people do see him as a hero, and will continue to, and if that's how other people see him, it's not toxic to accept that and see yourself as that, or see other heroes as people who think that of themselves too. So that was really, really nice. It's something that I can kind of identify with in my own way, not necessarily as like a hero, but like getting stuck too much in the mentality of how you see yourself. You need to start also considering, how do other people see you? Their feelings are valid too. That is also true. You know, their feelings are true just as much as yours are, and accept that. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about this episode. As I said in the intro to the video, I do fully believe that Team RWBY is going to be the focus of the final episode. Who do you want to see focused on in a potential episode 3 or 4 other than Team RWBY? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm Robin Rising. Have a good one.